Well, hopefully all the rain has moved on this evening, and we are set for baseball. It'll be a delay in the neighborhood of an hour and 20 minutes. At the outset of this game 2 between the Rockies and Mets, the Rockies fell yesterday 12-2 as the Mets pounded out 15 hits. German Marquez will be on the hill this afternoon or this evening for the Rockies as they try to snap an 8-game home losing streak. It's the longest losing streak they've ever endured at Coors Field. The only losing streak in franchise history longer at home was in 1993 at Old Mile High Stadium. And that man had quite an evening yesterday. Brandon Nimmo, who grew up rooting for the Rockies, about 90 miles north of here in Cheyenne, Wyoming, 4 for 6, including 2 home runs. His first home run, which led off the ball game, was an inside the Parker. Here's the batting order tonight, presented as always by Southwest.com. As Drupal Cabrera, Michael Conforto, he's starting to swing it. Then it's Frazier. Dominic Smith, who can play first base and the outfield, will be in left field tonight. Wilmer Flores, he homered yesterday. Kevin Plawecki's behind the plate. Jason Vargas, the pitcher, typically hits 8th under Mickey Callaway. And then the shortstop batting 9th is Ahmed Rosario. Strike one so key for German.
Well, it is, and he's fallen behind at times the last few starts. His last 3 games, he's 0-3 with an 8.44 ERA. We know what he throws, and this year it's been his off-speed pitch that has really helped him out. The fastball, though, getting hit at a 313 clip.
And a ground ball that's going to sneak through, and Brandon Nimmo is virtually impossible to retire these days. 5 for 7 now in this series. Tonight's defense for the Rockies is brought to you by First Bank. Noel Cuevas will be in left field with the left-hander starting this evening for the Mets. Blackman in center. Cargo is in right. Arenado, Story, LeMahieu, and Desmond in the infield. And Chris Iannetta has the gear on tonight.
Well, for Nimmo and the Mets, it kind of started off like they did last night. The leadoff man reached via hit last night in 7 of the 9 innings against the Rockies, which tied a club record.
And Nimmo, a threat to run. He's 7 out of 9 stealing bags, and I can't imagine, Spilly, the confidence level right now of Brandon Nimmo.
Off the charts, and whenever you get in one of these, I guess it's hard to call it the zone, but when you get in one of these time frames in your baseball career where your confidence is off the charts and you can do no wrong, you're going to continue to see pretty much crazy numbers over the course of the next couple days. And you're going to probably see more confidence in him trying to do things on the field that he normally wouldn't do, maybe steal a couple bases.
Well, we had an opportunity to spend some time with Brandon today after they took infield, outfield. The Mets did not hit, which is a little unusual, middle of a series, an evening game. They did not hit outside, but they did take infield, outfield. And this ball is in the air to shallow left, and no catch. I think Cuevas thought it was hit a little better than it actually was initially off the bat of Cabrera, and it drops for a single, so it's first and second, and German's going to have to pitch out of a jam early.
Well, he had to reroute on that ball because Noel started to go into the gap, and then he realized he needs to go straight in and lays out for it. Goes off the glove, but stays underneath him on the Subaru Supremo, just off the edge. And fortunate thing is it stayed right there. It did not allow Nimmo to go to third.
You know, really bad luck. Nimmo didn't hit his ball through the right side exceptionally hard. It found the right spot, and of course that was more of a bloop. But German, who's had all kinds of issues in the first inning, is dealing with traffic here, nobody out, and all of a sudden a hot hitter in Michael Conforto, who has struggled most of the year, but he's 7 for his last 20. And the first pitch breaking ball for strike one.
And I like that first pitch breaking ball because sometimes German will get in that rhythm and then just pumping the fastball in there. First pitch.
And it's 2 strikes on Conforto. Prior to his 7 for 20, he was 0 for 20 Isn't that
Strange,
baseball?
yeah, strange how that works. So you could flip it for no reason. Last night he had that hit that Nolan couldn't come up with. I mean, it was when you start to go good, and then that's when you start to get those cheap hits, as we say. It's a good location on that curveball for Herman.
Well, stuff-wise, if Herman can stay ahead, it's like any pitcher, but especially when you have wipeout stuff like Herman, you're going to be really difficult to hit. He's still ahead here, 1-2.
He slipped on that one. He almost fell down completely. The good thing is, even though after he slipped, he didn't throw it to the backstop.
This could have very easily happened.
Yeah. Just that left plant foot comes out. Field's been covered. It's just happens sometimes.
This is in the air to left center field. Cueva's going to get behind the baseball. And here goes Nimmo. Throw to third, a little bit offline. And also tagging, as you said, moving up is Cabrera. And that's almost a decision a catcher has to make when you have first and second. He'll signal to the infield where he's going with the throw if there's a steal. There, you would have preferred throwing behind
definitely.
To the slower runner.
Exactly, because you're playing pretty deep. Still play to the double play. You know, Trevor could have been pointing to second. I don't know what Charlie was doing in center field, but he could have been his eyes telling him as he's catching this ball, go to second, because I guarantee if he goes to second, Cabrera doesn't go to second.
That's right. I was watching Asdrubal Cabrera, and he was paying attention to the throw, and he's watching to see if there's any sort of throw towards third base, because he's going to go straight directly into second. If he threw it straight to second, Cabrera might have took 2 steps.
Todd Frazier at the plate, second and third, 1 out. And this ball in the air to right. Fargo will get there, and tagging and coming home is Nimmo. And also tagging up from second and moving to third is Asdrubal Cabrera. And the Mets take a 1-0 lead.
That is now the 17th run that Herman has given up in the first inning. That's tied for the most in the major leagues with King Felix in Seattle. He also has 17 first inning runs.
He's given up 46 runs total this year. So well over a third have come in the first inning. Beat a dead horse, but the Rockies all season long have been plagued by first inning runs. Fastball in there at the top of the zone, strike 1 on Dominic Smith, 23-year-old. Talking to Mickey Callaway about him this afternoon, and they really think he's going to be a good hitter. He got in his kitchen, and Herman was going to grab it, but Nolan comes down the line to make the catch. A couple of singles and then a couple of fly balls produce a run. 1-0 New York. Tonight, the veteran, the 35-year-old Jason Vargas. And here's the Southwest batting order tonight for Colorado. Charlie's going to bat in that 2 spot. Then Nolan, of course, Trevor Story's got the average up to 268. Ian Desmond is now at 211. Cargo will bat 6. It's Chris Iannetta, Noel Cuevas, and German Marquez against a guy who was an all-star last year in a Royals uniform, won 18 ball games. That was the top mark in baseball in terms of wins. Jason Vargas has not pitched very well so far this year, however.
No, and out on the road, it's even worse. A 9.15 ERA out on the road, which is the highest in the major league with the starter above 5 starts. That is not a misprint. 87 miles an hour on the fastball. Opponent's hitting 370 against that fastball.
DJ pulls it, but it's right at Todd Frazier, 1 out. Quite a contrast, Ryan Spilborghs, from last night. The Rockies faced one of the best in the game, a right-hander who throws exceptionally hard, and tonight you get the proverbial soft-tossing lefty.
You got to keep an approach that is still aggressive in the strike zone. Yeah, there's no question. Jacob deGrom was on his game last night. He was filthy. Talking to some of the hitters today, just how his ball carries through the strike zone. It's really remarkable. There's not a lot of really right-handed pitchers in baseball that have that type of life to the fastball through the strike zone.
There is strike 1 on Charlie. I was talking to Ian Desmond about facing deGrom yesterday. He's faced him a bunch in the past. Said he just commands everything, and all of his pitches are, typically outstanding.
And that's hard to cover when you have a pitcher that's doing that, where he commands 3 and even sometimes 4 pitches like deGrom does. Sometimes pitchers, they're lucky if they can command 2, and then the other 2 you don't worry about as a hitter.
And he does it start after start after start.
Yeah, that's a separator for me.
Fastball in. Charlie just 2 for his last 20, so he's fixing to get hot. Cool evening at Coors Field, 60 degrees. And now I notice temperatures dropped to 57. Emergency hack. Keep the AB alive.
Well, this is the important thing. Whenever you're facing a pitcher like Jason Vargas, who has been in the big leagues for a long time, and even with the stuff that you see, 87 miles an hour, still signed a 2-year contract with the Mets this offseason, still has a great feel for pitching, and he's the type of pitcher, and Huey, you can explain more, he's willing to throw a pitch at any time, at any count. Off-speed pitches are always in play.
And there's a base hit the other way for Charlie. Long run to the baseball, Dominic Smith. He'll get there and hold Charlie to a single. So 1 out, 1 on. Nolan coming up, and the Mets defensive alignment is brought to you by First Bank. Tim Plawecki's behind the plate, and in the outfield it is Dominic Smith, whose primary position is first base, but he can go out there, as we were talking about. Conforto's in center, Nimmo is in right. Dominic Smith, former #1 pick, 11th overall, California kid.
Just to further what Spilly was talking about a moment ago, with a guy that will throw anything at any time, I think this is where you don't overthink something. You kind of go back to the basics of hitting and just try to pick out a zone or a location for the ball. Don't get overly aggressive thinking, well, in 2 strikes, he'll throw this pitch. No, just see the ball because he can't overpower you.
One strike on Nolan. He actually has gone, and this really never happens. He's got 16 plate appearances at Coors Field without a hit. Out front, 0-2. He's got a lefty out there, and Nolan is clicking lefties to the tune of a .395 average this year. The only guy who's better is Chris Bryant by a single point. And this ball pulled to the corner, and that'll be at least one, and Nolan galloping towards second. He is in there with a double. Here come the Rockies in the bottom of the first.
See, that's all you got to do is kind of say what's going on, and Nolan comes through. 0-2 pitch.
He was out front,
well,
but
because it's changeup, but it was up, and he just is able to keep the hands back long enough on the Subaru Supermo to still reach for it, take that top hand off, create a little more length. And for Nolan, it's his 17th double.
So here's Trevor Story. Going to add to that National League lead in ribbies, and he will, I think. This ball is
Brandon doesn't see it. He doesn't see it in right field.
Cannot see the baseball.
That's a base hit.
The run comes around. Nolan goes from second to third, and that's strange. And I'm going to defer to Ryan here. Spilly, obviously, it's high clouds. It's well after 8 o'clock. How did he lose this?
Because the shade of the ball is now the color of the clouds right now, and this happens often here at Coors Field, where the baseball and just the way that the mud is rubbed up on the ball, it'll match the color of the clouds. It's very difficult to see, especially if it gets above the lights.
The whole time he had his hands up, like I didn't even see it basically off the bat.
Never saw it. Not a worse feeling as an outfielder, and you feel bad for the pitcher.
I don't.
Well, you're not on his team.
That's 55 RBIs for Trevor. He ties J.D. Martinez now for the Major League lead.
3 straight hits. Ian Desmond at the plate. And he fouled that off the foot of Tim Plawecki.
Well, we talked about some of the runs that the Rockies have given up in the first inning. Well, for Jason Vargas, he's just had 9 starts, including tonight, but he's given up 15 first inning runs. Had an ERA coming into this game in the first inning of 15.75, and they're not done yet.
Well, Herman's glad he's done with the first inning. Desmond hitting .309 over his last 20 ball games. 1-1 pitch. Desmond has never faced Vargas. Rockies don't have a lot of guys with much experience against Vargas, who's in his second tour with the Mets. 07-08 he was with New York.
Originally a draft pick of the Marlins in 2004.
Yep, second round pick. It's back when they were the Florida Marlins.
That's right.
And this is shot to the right side. Base hit. Story's going to go first to third. Desmond gives the Rockies a 2-1 lead as Nolan scores. He's hit it in the right place.
41 RBIs on the season for Ian. And this is off the end of the bat. It's a cue shot. Right off the end, cues it on the Subaru Supermo, but put it in the right spot. And then Trevor knows where Brandon Nimmo is playing, so he doesn't have to worry about looking over at Stu to say, do I need to come to third? I'll just go ahead and make that decision on my own.
So here's Cargo, 1-for-4 double last night against DeGrom. .358 average over his last 17 games. Looking for something he can lift here with 1 out and Story at third.
Maybe if he lifts it to right, they won't see it again.
There is that possibility. And takes it to first. They get one, and Cargo beat the return throw. Not according to Lance Barrett. It turns into a 3-6-3 inning-ending double play. Rockies get a pair of runs to take a 2-1 lead.
We will be celebrating the Rockies' 25th anniversary by counting down the top 25 greatest Rockies of all time. And tonight, it's all about number 15 on our list, Jeff Francis. Be sure to join in the conversation by hashtagging Toyota Talk 25. Send us your memories. We asked Buddy Black what he remembers about Jeff Francis. He managed against him, and he says he remembers his smooth delivery, his breaking ball, and his change. But he has one thing that he likes the most about Francis.
And what I really liked is Canadian, because my parents are Canadian. Love that about Francis. I love Canadian lefties.
There you go, Canadian lefties. He went on to say that he was a big fan of the way that Jeff Francis competed. So again, be sure to join in on the conversation, hashtagging Toyota Talk 25. Send us your tweets to AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter. Drew.
I'm looking forward to talking to Boomer in the third inning tonight, Taylor. Thanks very much. That was a swing, so it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Buddy says at least 3 things a day that just cracks you up.
That's what's fun about his press conference, because you're not sure what direction they're going to go sometimes.
And Buddy's not sure what direction he may take the press conference. He has a supple and fluid mind. 3-2 on Wilmer Flores. 2 hits, couple fly balls, produced a run for New York in the top of the first. The Rockies countered with 2 in the bottom of the first. And that's fouled off. And the Mets have won 3 in a row. The previous month was dismal, to say the least. And that's toward the gap in right center field. Charlie's going to try to cut it off and hold Flores to a single. It'll be tough. Throw on the way. Not going to get it. So a leadoff double for Wilmer Flores.
Now 2 for 2 tonight for the Mets, leading off an inning with a hit. That is 9 for their last 11 innings. 3-2 pitch right over the heart of the plate on the Subaru Supermo for Flores. That's his 10th double this season.
Now the catcher, Plawecki. Pitch low, ball 1. And that misses 2-0. Ground ball through the middle of the diamond, and this is going to tie up the game. Double, single, and just like that, we're even again at 2. Nobody out in the second inning.
Third RBI of the season for Kevin, but the problem was you fall behind 2-0. So you have to come in there, and he gets beat a little bit, but still 2-0. You're thinking, oh, I can get the barrel out. Hit that one right back up the middle. And then you got Vargas to play in for the bunt. The good thing is Plawecki doesn't have very good speed at first base, so you have a chance if he lays one down to go ahead and try to get him at second.
Vargas, pretty good hitting pitcher. A little more leery of him pulling it back with the slug bunt. He started his college career at LSU, transferred after his freshman year to a junior college, and then next time you saw him at a 4-year school, he was at Long Beach State. And let's see if Desi has a chance. Nope, he's got to lob it to DJ, 1 out. And at Long Beach State, he was a two-way player. So 1 out. Plawecki's at second base, and Ahmed Rosario coming up. So this is the 11th inning of this series, if you will. The Mets have had a hit in all 11 innings. Rosario has a little modest 4-game hitting streak going. I like this kid defensively, and they think he's going to hit with some pop. He's got a lot of raw power. Like so many young hitters, he's still trying to define the strike zone.
He's hitting better out on the road this year, 283. At home, mere 207.
0-2, swung on and missed. So Marcus with a strikeout of Rosario. That's his first tonight. With 2 outs, that'll bring up Brandon Nimmo again. He singled and scored in the first. He's 5 out of 7 in this series. I was starting to tell a story about him when we visited with him in the dugout today. That last night he said, honestly, I could not have, you talk about the proverbial script, how you'd like it to go when you go to the park that you went to as a kid and now as a big leaguer. And he said, there's no way in the world I could have scripted what happened last night. 2 home runs, 4 hits.
But inside the park home run to lead off. It took him just 14.7 seconds to get around the bases, and this was the regular one over the fence.
That went 449 feet.
And a couple other singles, 4 RBIs on the night. We talked to him. I talked to his dad after the game, happened to run into him, Ron. And he was beaming from ear to ear. As you said, they used to come down here, watch Rockies games all the time.
His dad used to bring down his accounting office down for Rockies games. That's just inside. And he said the seats that he first sat in no longer exist because they were high up in right center field, and that's now where the rooftop is. His parents are both from La Junta, Colorado. He swung right there, 2-2.
That's the first time in this series that we've seen him even look a little silly on a swing.
Herman's ready. Here's the 2-2.
Just up and out of the Subaru strike zone.
I don't mind that where he's up above the belt. It's where he's been missing. It's been thigh high. You either have to pitch at the bottom of the zone, at the knees or below, or above the belt. And I think for Herman, his mechanics allow him to pitch more above the belt.
And if it's above the belt, it's because of all the launch angles, upward cut the guys are trying to take. That's a hard pitch for them to catch up to.
See the fingernails painted, make it easier for Herman to see the signals. 3-2, got him on a slider down. That'll end the inning. There was a leadoff double by Flores. Plawecki brought him around with a base hit. It's 2-2. That is brought to you by the 2018 Toyota Tundra and your hometown Toyota stores, and by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Boy, it really poured right a few minutes before game time, and Philly was not sharp enough to come in from the rain. Are you wearing one of those suits?
No, this one is not waterproof.
Ah.
Rumor has it may or may not rain in the next 40 minutes or 30 minutes.
Are you prepared? Do you have an umbrella?
Nope.
Come up here with us then.
I don't feel like it.
Like coming up here with us, or you don't feel like an umbrella?
Both.
Well, good.
Okay,
You know what? You're
perfect.
uninvited.
I'm fine. I'm just going to sit right here. I'm going to wear like one of the fans today.
Okay. You're uninvited. We're putting a lock on the door. 1-1 on Ionetta, and this is lifted to deep left field, and it's going to elude Dominic Smith, who looks like a first baseman right now in left field.
That one did. It kind of looked like he was a little hesitant. Wasn't quite sure what he wanted to do. Does he continue to go after it? Does he lay out and try to dive for this? He's right at the end. I thought it was going to hang up long enough, and then he backs off and he's able to knock it down with his bare hand to keep it from going by, but a base hit for Chris. And that's hard too. I mean, it's hard when you're asking somebody to go out to an outfield, especially one like this at Coors Field.
And most guys play really deep out here. It's hard for them to get a good read on the baseball.
I like that idea by Cuevas, but it went foul. Two for the Rockies in the first. A run in the first, a run in the second for the Mets. Rockies were limited to 5 hits yesterday.
Jacob deGrom, you guys are talking to the guys. Just watching him though, he lowered his ERA to 151 on the year.
And when you come in with a 155, it's hard to lower your ERA. He went 8 innings yesterday. 2 runs, 1 earned. And this is a little pop-up that's going to be grabbed by Flores, 1 out, and that'll bring up Herman.
Time now for Pizza Ranch for the win tonight. It's a little bit of a tornado warning. The Rockies over the last 5 games have averaged about 5.5 runs per game, with the weather being where it's at. The offense in a pretty good place. And don't forget to mention Jason Vargas is 2-2 against the Rockies with an ERA well over 8. Expecting some runs tonight.
It's even higher here at Coors Field, Billy, a 11.40 ERA.
That's good.
I know. It's already showed it in the first inning, giving up a couple. I'm on 6 hits on the season.
Vargas going to take a shot at second, and a throw that ends up in the camera well, and that's a break for the Rockies. So Herman will go to second, and it'll be a throwing error on the shortstop, Rosario.
Rosario's 6th error this season, but a little too hard back to Vargas. You mentioned the 2-sport star at Long Beach State, gives a strong throw and then just wild throw. Chris goes in. A wild throw as Cabrera's trying to keep that from going into the camera well.
Two outs, and here's LeMahieu. He lined the ball right at the third baseman Frazier last inning. Inside, DJ a personal 7-game hitting streak against the Mets. He's hit over 500 during that time frame. 1 for 4 last night. He had a 3rd inning double to right center field against deGrom. A reminder, when the Rockies do score 7 in a game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. Do it between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. Live Moss at Taco Bell. Colorado in desperate need of a victory and then a winning streak.
Baby steps. Get that first one here at Coors Field. You want to be looking at one of those records. You know what I mean? Don't need that.
This is popped up and playable left side. Rosario makes the inning-ending catch. The Rockies will leave Marquez at second. 2-2 as we go to the 3rd. by Mickey Callaway this afternoon. We had an hour and 20-minute rain delay before first pitch. Right at 8 o'clock local time tonight. Herman was on base, so he's still got a couple more warm-up pitches before he gets ready to face Cabrera. Gave up a run in the first and a run in the second. So a couple runs on 4 hits. Number 15 on our silver anniversary team is the lefty, went by the nickname his whole life of Boomer, Jeff Francis. And that great 07 run of the World Series, Boomer won 17 games in the regular season, 2 more in the postseason. He's one of the all-time pitchers for the Colorado Rockies, and he joins us now from, I believe, London, Ontario. Jeff, am I right?
That's right, Drew. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing? How's Al and the kids?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good deal. So with you being number 15, I mean, that's a nice, I would think, a nice honor. The Rockies been around 25 years now, 26th season on the field, and to be in the top 15 all time, congratulations on that.
No, thank you very much. I didn't know it was number 15. When I saw the other names on that list, I wondered how maybe how low I was, but well, no, it's a huge honor.
Well, you want to know what Jeff and I and some others on the crew voted you, near the top of the list.
Yeah, we had you a lot lower.
Spilly refused to put you on the list.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Well, and then of course George Frazier had you number 1 on the list, so he had like.
Well, I've been lobbying him a long time.
Okay,
so.
right.
Yeah.
You mean your dad?
Yeah.
This is fouled off. So what keeps you busy these days? I assume running after your children.
Yeah, for sure. Little kids at home, getting them to school and home every day. So it's not as exciting as my life once was, but it's keeping me busy and it's a lot of fun.
Well, and with this rain delay too, we're keeping you up pretty late, aren't we?
Yeah, you are. My family's all gone to bed.
That's what happens when you stop playing ball. You get like a normal bedtime.
Yeah, and I'm up early now every day, which isn't like me.
Franny, you got to tell the guys about your backyard and the ice rink that you built for your family, and how in the off season you use that as kind of like mowing your lawn.
Yeah, well, we're in Canada, right? So winters are long here, so you got to find ways to be outside. You got to find ways to embrace winter. So, you get outside in the winter, what do? You skate on the ice, right? So I just built a 4-inch swimming pool in my backyard in the fall, and by Christmas it's frozen and we skate for a few months.
Which was your first love, right, growing up as a
well,
true
sure.
Canadian?
I mean, I never played it, but it's kind of automatic here. That's what's on TV, right? It's hockey night in Canada every Saturday night, so
yeah.
It's just part of growing up here.
So are the kids a better skater than you now?
Oh, for sure, yeah. They'll never pitch like me, but they can skate better.
There you go.
Franny, then how does an athlete like yourself, growing up where you did, how did you fall in love with baseball?
Well, my dad was a big baseball fan. My dad was a big Dodger fan, so I even made it to the Dodger Stadium as a 10-year-old. Finally getting to play on it as a professional was a big thrill for me. But baseball season was the biggest in my family because that was just what my parents loved to do. They loved to watch it. They loved to go watch games. And the more I played it, the more I realized I was pretty good at it, and kind of how it was chosen for me.
Of all the games that you pitched in a Rockies uniform, and there were a lot of them, a lot of big moments, World Series, NLCS, NLD, what is the one game that sticks out for you?
Well, everybody talks about the playoffs, right? I was lucky enough to start the first game of all 3 playoff series that year. That's a big thrill. But if I ever think about when I was at my best, there was a game when one of my first couple years that I pitched against the Cardinals, and it was a two-hit shutout at home, and that was just one of those days where I felt like I was at my best and couldn't be touched.
Yeah, there was a sequence in there. I remember you striking out Albert Pujols with a high fastball. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I can't believe you two.
because they're showing it right now.
It's only because I cheated earlier and looked at the video. Steel trap memory, Boomer, you know that.
Yeah, I do remember, and I probably still remember most of that game.
Kind of like a golfer will remember all his shots. Do you? I mean, will you remember if we showed, you know, the 4th inning and you facing Albert Pujols, let's say, will you remember? Yeah, I started him out with a curveball and then I threw a sinker away. Will you remember the sequences?
Not all of them. I mean, there's a lot of them in that game. I do remember that last pitch with the high fastball, but I think as most competitors, a lot of us remember the things that went wrong most of the time. And when I think about my pitching, I do think about things I could have done better most of the time. And most of the time on the mound, I spent trying to recapture kind of the magic I had early on in my career.
Well, no one will ever forget 2007, and whenever you talk about 2007, the conversation immediately moves naturally toward the great run late in the season. I'll tell you what, we'll pick up on that thought when we come back. Jeff Francis, who's number 15 on our top 25 silver anniversary team, is joining us from London, Ontario. Rockies tied with the Mets 2-2. Jeff Francis joins us, and 2007, the run where the Rockies ultimately won 14 out of 15 to get into the postseason, and then 21 out of 22, sweeping their way into the World Series, and leading them on the hill was Jeff Francis. Jeff, was there a point in time as Charlie Blackmon begins this inning with the ground ball through the middle of the diamond, as that eluded the shortstop Rosario for a base hit? He's 2 for 2. Was there a point in time early in that stretch where you felt like something special was happening, or did it just go night to night?
It definitely went night to night. I don't remember a time thinking that we had it. We had any kind of shot until, until probably we were sitting in Philadelphia in the playoffs. Because I don't think it ever really felt real, you know. And then finally sunk in once we lost 4 straight in the World Series, and we were kind of home thinking, wow, that was pretty unreal.
I know a lot of people think that if the Rockies would have just kept playing right away instead of having those 8 days off, that would have made a difference.
Yeah, I've heard us. I mean, there's no doubt about that, right? I mean, we were riding a wave right to the World Series, and we gave that wave enough time to cool off, right? And we were just a step slower, and we were playing a team that had gotten super hot, and it was just stacked against us. But I think we've all wiped maybe those 6 days from our memory, and we think about it as we won just about as much as we could that year. It was pretty special.
Franny, we talked about this, I think, at some point in fantasy camp. You played 11 seasons in the major leagues. You played for the Yankees, you played for the Reds, Kansas City Royals. And he told me that, you know what we had in 2007, it was rare. It was hard to ever get that back. Do you still feel that way, looking back at your career on how rare of a group we had in 2007?
I do, and I mean, winning solves a lot of that, right? I mean, you're right, I did play 11 years, and I didn't play on a lot of winning teams. I can probably count them on one hand, the number of seasons I had where I won more than I lost. But when you do win, it just makes showing up more fun, you know, and for fans too, for fans and players alike. And what we did, I mean, even though we had to do it pretty special to get in at the end, we did win a lot that year. We were pretty good most of that year. So, you know, you think back, and it was a special group, and when you go through that with people, it's, you know, the friendships last a long time.
Was there a game that stood out during that stretch for you more than some of the other ones?
Well, there was a game, I think the last week of the season, we were in San Diego right before we came back home, where we ended up sweeping them, and I think coming home we were a game and a half out, maybe. And I think I pitched getaway day in San Diego. It was a day game, I know that. But I know at the end of that series we were maybe only a game and a half out. And I think it was at that point we realized maybe there's a chance. You know?
Yeah, this is an uh-oh moment for Jason Vargas. Nolan Arenado loses one to left, and the Rockies take a 4-2 lead on the 14th of the year. For the Rockies all-star third baseman, that was a no-doubter.
Last year he hit 420 against left-handed pitching. This year he was hitting 395 coming into the game, so that's going to go back up over 400. There was a check swing called right prior to this swing that I'm not sure Nolan was real happy with. So he took out his frustration on the baseball, and it went about 20 rows deep in left field. He immediately knew it. Everybody in the stadium knew it.
Even Canada knew it, eh?
Just found out. It's just broadcasting now.
Outside on Trevor's story, Jeff Francis, of course, is with us, number 15 on our top 25 silver anniversary team. Did Coors Field ever get in your head at all? Hold that thought, because this one is sailing to the seats as well. Trevor's story goes about 20 rows deep, make it 5-2. Number 16 for Story.
Tell us when you get to see it in Canada and break it down.
It's bouncing off the satellite dish right now and back into London.
That ball might have hit the satellite dish.
And it's close.
That's how high it was. Oh,
change up.
Yeah, hitters like change up belt high. And that's what Trevor got. But I think his went further than Nolan's. Did you get it yet, Boomer?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I see it.
There you go. Make a play.
Yeah.
No, how did you master Coors Field?
Master it? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, master. But you know, how did you deal with the fact that, you know, that's your home ballpark, big ballpark, light air, all the things that we know about it from a mental standpoint?
I never had an answer. I'm not sure anyone had an answer. I think you've seen it time and time again. People who have good seasons or a good season or two have had a lot of trouble backing it up, and I'm one of those.
This ball's lined to deep right field, and this one is off the top of the wall. No, it's gone. Back to back to back. We're going to keep on Boomer the rest of the game. Ian Desmond with his 15. A line shot off the top of the auxiliary scoreboard.
And then a night when it's only 57 degrees, the ball's flying out here like it's 95 degrees. Well, these are Not well located pitches by Jason Vargas, and the Rockies hitters are taking advantage of it. For Ian Desmond, 15 home runs.
He's hit a bunch that way, too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We've seen more than a few go out to right field. Right on top of the auxiliary scoreboard, off the chain link fence, back into the field of play, and back to back to back.
Tough acts to follow for Cargo. He hit a hard shot, but right at the first baseman Flores, who turned it into a 3-6-3 double play. And curveball's in there for a strike.
It's a 7th home run by Ian against a left-hander this year.
Ask Franny the question again. We'll see if we can get 4 homers in a row.
I can't remember the question anymore.
Mastering Coors Field.
Yeah, well, what do you think, Jeff?
Oh, I'm thinking all these homers are bringing back some bad memories to me right now.
No, but you have to be mentally tough. I mean, you know you're going to give up some hits, you're going to give up some runs, but the object is to give your ball club a chance to win. And I think, you know, when you went out there, you had that feeling like, yeah, that's what was going to happen.
Yeah, we did, for sure. And I think early in my career, I had the benefit of some pretty good run support too. That, you know, not all pitchers get at times. So when I pitched well, I was lucky enough to win, you know, and when I didn't, I lost. So, you know, when you pitch well more than you pitch bad, then, you know, you're going to have some good seasons when you get some run support, which we had some teams that scored some runs. So, you know, I definitely wouldn't sit here and say I had Coors Field mastered or had anything figured out by any means.
If you were to give advice to a young starter that's beginning their career in the Rockies organization, what would you say?
I would say don't overthink things. You know, I think there's things that we as pitchers do that get us drafted, that get us noticed, that make us successful in the minor leagues. And if you just try to stick to those things, to the preparation you do, and to step on the mound prepared every time you're out there, that you can't have regrets. You know, that was how I attacked my whole playing career from when I was 16 until I quit playing. Was I always stepped on the mound prepared, and, you know, doing all I could to be ready for when I needed to make a big pitch, so that I've already made that pitch in my mind 100 times. You know.
2-2 on Ionetta, that hit him, so he'll go down to first. Hey, Boomer, you're gonna like this one. The last time the Rockies went back to back to back. Spill, you have any idea?
Was I part of it?
You were part of it.
Oh,
And it was against your buddy Dan Herron.
Oh, so is it Diamondbacks or?
Yeah, Diamondbacks 2010. Seth Smith, Cargo, and then you.
Man, that was probably the end of Dan Herron's career right there.
That wasn't very nice of your former roommate. We're going to get a pitching change, and then we'll come back. We'll continue with Jeff Francis, kind enough to stay up late in London, Ontario tonight. So the Rockies have run off Jason Vargas here in the third. They're up 5-2. 6-2. billboards with a geography lesson, and it began with Canada is our neighbors to the north, and then it went from there.
It's like having a sweet loft apartment above us, a really great party.
Yeah.
That's what Canada is. Hey, Franny, we love your family, we love your mom, and we'll always remember your first career start in Atlanta. What was it about your mom and just the cheering and the exuberance that she shared with us? Because I know we loved it. That's how we ended up getting your name, Boomer.
Well, it's funny because everybody was so blown away by her cheering like that, but she had done that my whole life, so that was nothing new for me. It was just funny that the ballpark was so quiet. You could hear her on the broadcast, so I think you guys brought her up to interview her during the game.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You could hear her after every pitch. Now, I know I've asked you this before, and I can't remember your answer. Could you hear down on the field also?
Yeah, definitely I could hear her. But again, it was nothing new. I was used to it. It was almost comforting.
That's wild. Noel Cuevas at the plate with Ionetta at first against Hansel Robles. Taking a look at the numbers on Robles this year.
Last pitched in Arizona 2 days ago. 16th ball game, 4.50 ERA. Struck out 22 guys in 18 innings, with 7 walks. Robles 95 with the fastball, changeups 90, sliders 87.
We were talking about this earlier. By the way, Josh Fogg's in town. Jeff, your former teammate and good friend. And I don't think you guys are going to overlap because he's got to head back tomorrow to Florida. He's got a kids tournament this weekend. This ball's lined to deep left field. Stay fair. And it did off the very top of the wall. Ionetta to third. He gets a green light. And he will score on a double by Cuevas. Boy, was that ever hit hard.
I think they might want to look at this one, too. I mean, that ball almost took down the wall.
Do you know, we talked so much a couple of years ago when the Rockies added to the wall in right center field above the bullpens, and then they added about 15 feet right down the left field line. I don't know if I've ever seen a ball hit it, and I think this may be the first.
Right off the top of the padding. This will give us a clear look on the Subaru Super Bowl.
Yeah, you know what? It didn't hit that part.
Right at the top of the padding and bounced back in. That is indeed.
He missed a home run literally by inches.
Yeah.
It would have been the second home run of his career. As the umpires are getting together right now and looking at it.
And I always have to remind people, if it hits a yellow line, it's not a home run. It has to go over the fence.
And this is going to be a crew chief review. That's why they pointed, and also Bill Wilkie kind of pointed to his chest.
That's going to be a double.
Yeah, double, but this is Bill's call. Oh, so definitely, yeah. They're going to look at this for about 10 seconds and let the call stand for the double and an RBI.
And while they do that, I want to ask Jeff very quickly. So we were talking with Josh Fogg, and we were talking about how teammates, everybody, former athletes, whether it be baseball or whatever the sport is, how tough it is to make the transition once they stop going to a clubhouse or a locker room and stop playing a sport. How difficult was it for you?
I think it was more hard at the end of my career not being able to do what I once could do. So for me to step away from baseball was kind of the easy part. My last year or so getting on the mound in the major leagues, I felt really overmatched, and it was kind of a helpless feeling that I really didn't enjoy. So while being in the minor leagues, I felt I was still a good pitcher and very competitive, and I was enjoying that. But when you're in the minor leagues, sometimes it doesn't feel like it's worth being away from home. But really stepping away from baseball was easy for me, and I really haven't looked back really that much.
Franny, was it a thrill to end your career with the Toronto Blue Jays?
Yeah, definitely. And again, like being a guy in the pen, getting called up in September, and I was like the 14th guy out of the bullpen. I just had a good seat for a pretty good pennant race, and it was pretty cool to be playing like that for Canada's team.
Hey, look at your television right now and tell us if you ever hit a ball the opposite field like this by Germán Marquez. It's going to arrive right now in your home. That's pretty good for a pitcher, isn't it?
Yeah, that is good.
That's 7 hits on the year for Germán.
Yeah, he's winning the
batting title.
the
Silver
batting title
Slugger
among
for the pitchers.
among the pitchers. Who won back in your day?
Jason Jennings for sure, for at least early on. I don't know. Well, that one year we had Jason Marquis on our team. That guy could hit pretty good. So.
Yeah.
Hey, Frady, I want you to finish the thought on retiring in Toronto, because Corey and I, we have a picture from when you finished your career. Describe what that picture was, because you said you were going to do this at the start of your career, that was how you were going to end it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Taking the picture with just the cleats in the locker room?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Corey and I have this picture where you just took a picture of your cleats in an empty locker, and that was it. We knew your career was over. You sent Corey and I a picture, and we loved it.
And did I take that?
Yeah, we thought you did.
Well, I had no idea.
Well, maybe it was,
maybe it came from I think it came from a fan on Twitter, actually.
Okay. Are you going to flash it on the screen? Because I'm about 20 seconds behind you guys.
Oh, no, we don't have the picture. It was on our phone.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, good.
3-1 on DJ, and he takes ball 4. And now the Rockies have hit around here in the 3rd inning. They have scored 6 runs. Charlie Blackmon got it going about 20 minutes ago with a base hit. He scored on the 2-run home run by Nolan Arenado. And oh, by the way, tacos for everybody tomorrow. The Rockies have eclipsed the 7-run mark. So do not forget to go to your participating Taco Bell location between 4 and 6 tomorrow to receive your Rockies taco special La Masa Taco Bell.
Hey, one more thing, Boomer. Do you still have the Sports Illustrated that you were on the cover from the 2007 year?
Yeah, I definitely do. Actually, I think I probably still have a box of those magazines, because I probably at the time cleaned out the whole west side of Denver. I think I went to every Walgreens in Denver, about every Sports Illustrated ad.
Did you wear a disguise? Or did you kind of put it up
Nobody knew who I was. It didn't matter.
Oh, you didn't put it up next to your face?
You didn't walk
checked
up.
Out?
Yeah, walk up and say, "This is me."
Yeah.
Yeah, because that would have been cooler if I had done that.
Your old manager, Clint Hurdle, had a great story about when he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated back in the 70s. He had no idea he was going to be on the cover. He walked into a 7-Eleven during spring training on his way to the ballpark to get like a cup of coffee. He's checking out, and he like, as he tell, you know, Clint may embellish a little bit, but he said he like dropped everything and ran out of the 7-Eleven because he's like, what am I doing on the cover?
Kind of freaked him out a little bit.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Well, you're just one of 3 Rockies to appear on the cover of a Sports Illustrated.
And 2 are Canadian.
Yeah.
There you go.
I can't even be the best Canadian to have ever played for the Rockies.
But you're the best Canadian pitcher. Your great line today is that's a 4-pitch walk to Blackmon. And up comes Nolan, who launched one in the seats earlier in the inning. Go have a 6 RBI inning, Nolan. Buddy Black had a great tribute to you when he was asked what he remembered about you. And he sang your praises as a pitcher. And he said, I love 2 things especially about him. One, that he's Canadian, and the other, that he's left-handed. Of course, Buddy's parents were both from Canada.
Oh, okay.
Buddy grew up in the state of Washington. Bases loaded, and Nolan fired at that first pitch, and you took a little something off, so it's 0-1.
Who was the one hitter you feared the most?
Oh, gosh, there must have been one on each team, I would have thought. But I know when I first came in the league, Barry Bonds was still winning MVP, so that was pretty. He was kind of larger than life at the time.
How'd you do with him? Do you remember?
Well, I know I gave up two home runs to him. I know he got me twice.
It's like a
I remember
badge.
hitting him once when he had 714 homers. At the time, they kept changing the balls out because they had markings on them.
Yeah.
And actually hit him with one of those.
And you let BK give it up the next day to him so you could get 715.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So who was the one superstar hitter, though, that you owned?
Geez, I don't know. I did have success against Adrian Gonzalez. We faced him so many times with the Padres and then the Dodgers.
Adrian just got released by the Mets last week.
No, I didn't know that.
This is fouled off our direction and just shy of our location. We get a baseball like every 3 or 4 years, and I thought one was coming in there. Doug, you can come back from under the table now. 1-2.
Oh, Sully's up there, too.
Yeah, Corey's up here.
Do you remember your old teammate Corey Sullivan? Do you have any recollection of Corey?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Many memories of messing around here in BC out in center field, just catching his changeup that he thought he could throw.
Real quick, though, Corey just texted me a question he wanted to ask you about maybe getting sick or something on his shoes right before you took the mound in St. Louis.
Yeah, well, early on in my career, I used to get really nervous before games, and sometimes I'd throw up. And one time we were in St. Louis right before a game, and so after the top of the first, we're running out to the field, and I threw up in the dugout and then got on his shoes, and I said, "Don't tell anybody."
I just told the world.
He looked at me like a deer in headlights. He goes, "Please don't tell anybody. Please don't tell anybody." Franny, should you tell the story about the movie in San Diego? Because I already did a prop with a giant garbage can involving you slipping at the movie theater.
No, we don't have time for that. It's already in the third inning.
Oh, I love
Well,
it.
just tell us when you come this weekend.
Yeah, okay. That'll take 3 days anyway.
2 outs, bases loaded. Story, who homered earlier in the inning, takes inside and tight. Rockies leading 8-2. It was a 2-2 ball game when this inning began. Jeff Francis joins us, 15th on the list, the silver anniversary list. And we were kidding earlier, and not really embellishing much at all, that George, your dad, voted you #1 all time. Your favorite George Frazier diner story? Go.
Well, him telling me every day we were at breakfast that he was going to quit smoking, and I think to this day he hasn't. So, and every time I see him, I ask him. So.
No, he hasn't.
No.
This is on the ground to third. The force that'll end the inning. Hey, Jeff, it's always great catching up. I know the fans look forward to seeing you this weekend. Congratulations on number 15. Say hello to Allison, and we look forward to seeing you again in a couple.
Buy you some cinnamon juice this weekend, buddy. Can't wait to see you.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Boomer.
Now you can go to bed. Sportsnet is brought to you by Subaru. Love it's what makes a Subaru, and by Jack in the Box. Try the $4.99 Jack Spicy Chicken Club Combo with toasted sourdough, new from Jack in the Box. Well, we have to have Jeff Francis on more when we need a rally.
Yeah.
The Rockies rallied for 6, and for the first time in 8 years, they went back to back to back. Spilly was involved the last time that happened, as we mentioned. It came against the Diamondbacks and his buddy Dan Herron. And now Herman, with a 6-run cushion, goes to work in the 4th inning against Dominic Smith. A few years ago, first-round pick at a high school at a Sarah High School in California, Southern California. He was the 11th pick overall. Same high school that produced Barry Bonds, Ozzie Smith, the late Jim Fregosi, former Met Greg Jeffries, among others.
That's a name I hadn't heard in a while.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
Actually, I said Ozzie Smith. It's Dominic, not Ozzie. You know, Greg Jeffries did something unique. Speaking of Sports Illustrated, there was a great piece on him because he could really hit.
Yeah, he could.
He could really hit. And one of the drills he did in the off season, he would get in the family swimming pool, not completely underwater, but he would swing a bat underwater for bat speed.
You know what? There's times that people thought at the major league level I was swinging my bat
I knew that was
Yeah.
coming. I knew that one was coming.
That's where the term he's swinging underwater comes from.
Jeffries, a career .289 hitter.
Was that the Sports Illustrated where he was on pace to hit 400 and the picture of him hitting is with the broken bat? Is that right?
Well, you know what, Spill, it must have been. I can't imagine they did a multitude of articles. I mean, he was a good player, but it's not like he was in Sports Illustrated once a year.
I mean, I'll still remember that because I thought it was funny. I was like, really, you're going to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated on a quest to hit 400 and the bat's exploding in the guy's hands?
Yeah, you think they'd find another picture, right?
Exactly, that's my point.
Picture.
Yeah, he hit .342 that year. That was '93. One and two on Flores, and he kind of punches that foul into the crowd. Starting to rain again.
Well, and yeah, Mark Razum came out and talked to Bill Wilkie, the crew chief, in between innings. Hopefully he's just telling him, don't worry about this, it's going to pass.
You want to make sure you get through the 5th inning so it's an official game. You want to leave all that offense on the table. Who was it? Spilly, was it you brought up Jeff Francis, or was it you, Huey? He opened the season. Was it against the Cardinals?
We were talking about it before the game today. Yeah, he opened the season against the Cardinals. Did not pitch well. Got shelled, but then rain came and just kind of wiped the game off.
So it never happened.
Never happened.
It never ever happened.
Flores is gone. That is the 3rd strikeout for Herman.
2nd on a slider tonight. He's got 1 strikeout on a curveball and 2 on sliders. Finally got Flores and gets him with the hard slider on the Subaru Supermo with some depth to it.
That's why you get so excited when you watch Herman, and it's a process to becoming an elite pitcher, but stuff-wise, he certainly has it. And that's a 1-2-3 innings. Plawecki grounds out. And the Rockies can get right back to the bat rack. They're up 8-2.
First off, Nolan's home run, 109.2 miles per hour, 439 feet. Trevor says, okay, you might hit a little bit harder. Mine only went off the bat at 105.5, but I hit mine further, 441 feet or 2 feet further than Nolan did. Well, Ian says, you guys pulled your ball. I had to hit mine the other way. So mine's not going to go quite as far. It only went 386 feet, 22-degree launch angle, 99.4 miles an hour off the bat. Yet they produced 3 home runs, and the beauty of it, back to back to back. Rockies ahead 8-2 as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning.
Ian Desmond will be first. He's got an RBI single and a home run so far in this ball game.
That was fun having Boomer on, wasn't it?
He's just a great guy. He's always been a grounded individual. He's talked about his physics degree from UBC, University of British Columbia. An intelligent guy, a fun guy to be around. He was an intense competitor.
And he liked to barf on Corey Sullivan.
and he liked to.
Okay, but here's the question, Spilly, and you can answer this. If you were playing a trivia game, would you have Boomer or would you have Corey on your team? If you could only pick one.
Oh, Boomer.
Frazier, good pickup, and he'll get Desmond.
Is that because you don't like Corey? Or
I love Corey.
I said that tongue in cheek. I was kidding.
I love Corey. He just uses the Google machine.
But you would take Boomer.
I'd take Boomer.
Well, here are your 3 choices, because you know it's kind of like our CenturyLink poll. You can have Boomer, you can have Sully, or you can have Cliff Clavin. Who do you got, Spilly?
I would probably.
And order them, please.
Well,
here's
I
Cargo.
have no idea who Cliff Clavin is, so I should probably take him first. I'm going to take him last. I'm gonna
Cheers.
Oh, okay, Cliff.
The mailman and Cheers.
Yeah, you got to update some of the. I mean, I know I watched these shows when I was growing up, but it's 2018. Oh, get out of here!
That's loud and proud and gone to left. Another home run for the Rockies. Cargo goes deep for the 7th time this year.
Norm!
Well, somebody's playing a drinking game tonight at home. They fell off their bar stool. That was a missile. That was Cargo circa 2010.
Because he knew it too when he dropped the bat in classic Cargo fashion. So you know when you hit the one the other way and you can drop the bat, it's a pretty special home run. It's 7 runs, 29 RBIs for Cargo.
Net at the plate. If I ask everybody to raise their hand who's not hit a home run tonight in the dugout, it's going to be like a 50-50 split. Nolan, Story, Desmond, Cargo, all with home runs. 3rd time this year the Rockies have hit 4 in a game. They did it in Chicago in early May. They did it at home about 3 weeks ago against the Reds. 9-2, 12 hits already. It's always a frustrating night when you face Jacob deGrom. And the Rockies taking it out first on Jason Vargas and now on Hansel Robles.
That's what you're going to have to do. That's what you do when you're facing the Aces. You just hope that you can squeak out enough runs to beat them. Last night, nothing to be ashamed about. Jason deGrom was good. He's
good every night, right?
Yeah, he's like one of the Jacob deGrom, one of those guys that nobody ever hits when he's on the mound.
There's a walk for Chris. He's been on 3 times. Single, hit by pitch, and now a walk, and Cuevas will come up.
Join the Rockies, King Soopers, and the Denver Rescue Mission for the Hit a Home Run Against Hunger food drive and bring non-perishable or canned food items to the game tomorrow.
Cuevas nearly hit a home run his last time up.
Took a home run hack there on the ball that was up and in on the Subaru strike zone.
He hit a bullet down the left field line that hit the top of the wall, and they had to go review it quickly in New York. He went as an RBI double. He hit right there on the yellow padding.
Right in
where
this area.
Yeah, where it intersects. And a line one hopper. Cuevas won't quite be able to beat the return throw, and it'll be an ending double play, but Cargo went deep to left to give the Rockies a 9th run. Yeah, you're strong when you drop the bat and jog when you go oppo.
Talk about Jeff Francis as number 15, greatest Rocky of all time. We got to talk about Kyle Freeland, because Kyle Freeland was a Denver kid who admired Jeff Francis. And what's crazy is when you compare their numbers, Freeland actually has Jeff Francis beat a little bit. Look at the ERA through 42 career starts. Freeland 3.94. Francis 5.67, but Freeland still says Francis, yeah, he's way better, and he's got a long way to go before he matches up to Jeff.
I would have probably laughed and been like, you got to be kidding me with that. No, I got a long way to go for that. He was a longtime Rocky, and he pitched extremely well for us. So it'd be cool to get there one day, but it's a long road.
So that was me asking him what he would have told him, or what if I would have told him, hey, you have better numbers than Francis one day. And he said, yeah, I would say get out of here with that. So again, certainly just baseball being in Colorado, a lot of kids looked up to him, and Francis was a role model for a lot of young guys. Drew?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's just another reason to love Kyle Freeland. He's got great humility. And Jeff Francis, for any pitcher, whether you're left-handed just like Jeff as Freeland is, or anybody else, you could learn a lot about how you go about the business of pitching and the art of pitching, because he was a pitcher, not a thrower.
You don't think that Kyle Freeland bleeds purple? Because did you just hear what he said about Jeff Francis? He pitched really well for us.
For us, yeah. I mean, this kid's a Rocky through and through. Yeah. Not just because now he's employed by the Rockies.
But that really jumped out to me when he said us.
I'm with you. Luis Guillorme's pinch hitting. This is the pitcher spot, the 8th spot in the lineup. Med Rosario on deck. 1, 2, 3, 4th inning for Herman. And that just missed.
It's the Subaru strike zone.
It's raining pretty steady, but not hard enough to create those puddles where you get the tarp on the field. I asked for an umbrella and I got a parasol. Like, there's a good chance the people behind me can't see the game. Sorry.
Sorry. You know what? Looking from this angle,
Look at the size of this thing.
Yeah, but there's nobody in the front
Here,
row
watch,
right behind you.
Let's see if I can bother this person out here.
That guy you're blocking?
Yeah, how's that?
He's a UFC fighter.
Oh, great.
That's ball 4, so a walk to Guillorme. Gonna bring up Ahmed Rosario. I like what Jeff said because it's very revealing from an athlete's perspective, and I'm sure you two guys can relate to it. You played into your late 30s, Jeff, and Spilly, you played into your 30s, and you finished up your career in Japan. Let's hold on a second. There's one play here, and that's to first. So Rosario retired, and Guillorme goes to second. It'll bring up Brandon Nimmo. But there comes a point in time where you remain as competitive as ever, but the skills have declined just enough that you feel like, man, I don't have every day what it takes to compete at this level, and that's got to be such a troubling thing.
It's troubling, and it's hard to be honest with yourself sometimes, where you're sitting there saying, well, I just can't do the things that I used to do. Baseballs that I used to beat out, I'm now being thrown out by a step or two. You know, I've got to cheat more on the fastball. My arm strength isn't quite what it was across the diamond. But at the same time, when that starts to happen, if you're honest with yourself, that's when you got to look at it and say, you know what, it's time.
Time to go to the house.
It's time to go. You know, Father Time is undefeated. And it's hard because as athletes, that's the only thing we know.
Well, I think once he started adding family, and that's what Jeff said, he was like, it wasn't worth it for him to be in the minor leagues when you're not seeing your children grow up. And I think that's a sentiment amongst athletes, is when they decide to make that choice to move on. It's, yeah, I have deteriorating skills. They're not as good as I once was. And maybe I'm good 3 days a week where I used to be good 5 days a week. But when you start adding family and you're missing birthdays and you're in the minor leagues grinding, that's when the game is not fun anymore.
3-1 on Nimmo. Jeff's one of those guys, and Spilly, he's a dear friend of yours, and you played together, as everybody knows, for a good period of time.
You got drafted together.
That's right, and he's one of those guys that I didn't think from afar would have. I had no concerns about him making the transition.
Yeah, there's no question. There's certain guys in this game that they have something they can fall back on. Whether it's education, great family, they've had enough, they had their fill. I know in my personal career, when I ended, I was completely grateful of the run that I had and had no regrets of walking off the field. But the guys that feel like they still have left in the tank, those are the ones that it hurts over time.
That's going to sneak through the left side. Cabrera an RBI single, and it's 9-3, first and third. Second hit for Cabrera today is Drubel's 38th RBI, and that'll bring up Conforto. 2 walks in the inning, and we have been harping on this of late.
And a leadoff walk to a pinch hitter when you're up 9-2. And then Cabrera, just a savvy hitter. I think he was just looking that whole way to try to shoot that hole.
Conforto's 1 for 2. He lined a single to center in the third. First pitch is in there for a strike. Product to Oregon State. Conforto fouls that off, 0-2. Jay Bruce remains out. He's not on the disabled list. No, they did put him on today. Excuse me. Let me change that. They did put him on with that hip injury.
But real late today.
They are in a situation now. They're playing without Bruce. Tim Peterson was called up. They're playing without Jonas Cespedes also. This is in the air to left field, pretty deep. Tagging and coming home. Cabrera is safe.
Real close.
Nimmo scored. It's 9-4 on the Conforto sac fly.
Well, at the wall, he knows he's on the warning track, and then he fires a dart into second base. I mean, that was going to be real close. I mean, he gets his foot into the Subaru Supermo. But Brandon Nimmo was running hard the whole way, but if he's out before Nimmo crosses the plate, then you know it's no run. Good throw from Noel.
Todd Frazier at the plate. He had a sac fly in the first. He hit into a 6-4-3 double play in the third to end the inning.
Both walks this inning have scored.
Well, too many walks lately, and it seems like every walk in the last couple of weeks ends up coming around. And then there are times where, you know, you may have some walks and they end up part of double plays. They don't seem to hurt you over a period of time. Rockies trying to emerge from this funk in June. Just 4-12 in the month of June. Despite the fact that their offense has been really good in June. 2-2, good pitch. And now they have Cabrera hung up.
You're going to run him all the way back because there's nobody at third.
And they get the out on Cabrera. I don't understand. He was looking at Frazier for some reason.
Well, that was only strike two. Cabrera
Right,
thought
he must have thought it was strike three.
Last night he failed to run the bases too. He thought it was one out when there was two. So that's 2 nights in a row he's made.
Yeah, he's looking at Frazier. Why aren't you running to first? Because typically I don't run when it's a 2-2 count. A couple of runs in the inning for the Mets. It's 9-4. The game is official. AT Sportsnet RM on Twitter to cast your vote. And as always, we'll show you the results during our post-game show. Simple question. Today is National Martini Day. Do you take it shaken or stirred? Bond, James Bond.
Bond.
I don't drink martinis.
I don't either.
Spilly, we defer to you here.
Take mine dirty. It's because they put olive juice.
A lot of olive. Well, my wife likes a very dirty martini.
I don't know. I don't know the difference. I usually, if I do order one of those, I ask for it not in the silly glass.
Not in the silly glass. What do you want, in a paper cup?
That's fine. Say, can you put it in the not silly glass? Can you put it in maybe a Rocks glass or something like that, like a Colorado Rockies glass?
New pitcher out there is Chris Beck, 16th appearance for Chris.
Well, that's both with the White Sox and the Mets. Claimed off waivers back on June 13th.
Ansel Robles went an inning and 2/3. And he took his martini tonight shaken.
Yeah, inning and 2/3, 3 hits, couple earned runs, including the home run. That base hit in the 3rd inning for Herman. Mentioned that 7 hits by a pitcher. Max Scherzer is the leader in the clubhouse right now. He has 9 hits on the season.
Pretty good pitcher also, huh?
Yeah.
2-2 on Herman. Spill, you know what the prize is year to year if you win the batting crown among the starting pitchers?
I think you get a Silver Slugger.
I mean, within the team.
Oh, within the team?
Yeah. What's the best?
Bragging rights?
The best trophy you've ever heard?
Just bragging rights. I mean, I've never acknowledged pitchers hitting. Come on, you know that.
Well, he may throw out another hit right here. He did. He's 2 for 3 tonight.
Back to that play for a moment that ended the inning for the Mets. This was only strike 2. Chris blocks it. As Dribble Cabrera starts to run, Chris is looking in the dugout. Oh, I got to throw it down here. So this is going to go down as a 2-5. 6-5-4 put out if you're keeping it home. So
and you see staring down, and Frazier's telling him it's only 2 strikes. That's inside on DJ.
I was looking over to the field. I was like, was there a runner on first base? How many outs? He confused everybody.
Well, and he may have confused Frazier, Cabrera, because after the 2nd strike, he walked away toward the dugout about 15 feet, like with some purpose, as if he thought it was, but then he stopped and he turned around. He was just collecting his thoughts.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Cabrera's in a dance between 2nd and 3rd, and you can see he keeps looking toward Frazier. Why are you not going?
You run.
Ooh. That's off the bat. That's a foul ball.
Better off the bat than a finger. So close on the Subaru Supermo. DJ's trying to back out of the way. And
how many times in your guys' career did you made such a hard commitment that instead of being able to turn your head away, your face is exposed?
More than a few times. Good eye down the Subaru strike zone. DJ's the only one that hasn't joined the party tonight yet, Spilly. He needs a hit.
He would be allowed to eat first in the old rules of our the Rockies clubhouse. If you don't get a hit, you're not allowed to eat first.
2-2, fouled off. Chris Beck is making his second appearance in a Mets uniform. Picked up off of waivers a few days ago by the White Sox. You were talking about that. Usually when guys are waived, you look at their numbers and say, man, they're awful. His numbers weren't bad.
No, not at all.
With the White Sox. And he gets a strikeout at DJ, so 1 out. Marquez at first, and Blackman, who's 2 for 2 and a walk, will come up. Rockies tonight trying to snap a 3-game losing streak and an 8-game losing streak at Coors Field, their longest ever. They're up 9-4 in the 5th inning.
Just looking at the arm of Beck too. Fastball 96 miles an hour.
Guys are a dime a dozen now, Huey.
Well, I know, but still, just 14 games for the White Sox, 4.18 ERA.
That is amazing.
That's not.
No. Especially for a pen guy. It could be one bad outing.
Yeah. 11 earned runs in 23 and 2/3 innings for the Sox.
Charlie, with 2 runs scored tonight, has scored his 54th and 55th runs of the year. Mentionable because he now leads the National League in runs scored. He just passed Ozzie Albies for the NL lead. Two-strike pitch upcoming. 96 again, but off the plate, 1-2.
Yeah, Ozzie is not eligible for Rookie of the Year. He used it up last year. Even though he's just 20 years of age.
Puppy. 2-2.
You guys saw yesterday Juan Soto hitting a home run on a suspended game, which was really his major league debut. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Ended up hitting a home run, and so it set the clock back to, that's, I guess Dougie would know better than I do, but the official first home run of his career, his first major league homer, even though it's 3 months after he's already shown up.
Well, and the other interesting tidbit of that, so if you look at it, he also hit a home run in Double-A on that same date, technically. So he hit a home run in Double-A and also hit a home run in the major leagues.
2 different cities. Takes a talented guy to do that.
Deion Sanders did it.
Deion used to get on a helicopter, play a football game, and then run over and play a baseball game. Ball 4. So Charlie walks for the second time. That'll push Marquez to second, and it'll bring up Nolan. The big hits tonight are brought to you by Mako. If you missed it in the 3rd inning, Charlie single, Nolan came up, and he lost one to left. His 14th of the year. Trevor Story said, I'll do one better in distance. And then Desmond right behind him. Skimmed one off the top of the auxiliary scoreboard. Back-to-back-to-back jacks for the Rockies. First time since 2010 when it was Seth Smith, Carlos Gonzalez, and our intrepid reporter, Ryan Spilborghs.
It's amazing it's been 8 years. It's a long time ago.
But it just seems like yesterday at times, though, right?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Back to Nolan, and that's a base hit up the middle. And here comes Herman toward the plate. He'll score standing up. Another RBI for Arenado, his 3rd of the night. He's got 45 driven in. And the Rockies lead it 10-4.
And get one of those runs back that they had given up in the top of the 5th inning. Taking advantage of Beck is Nolan up towards the end of the bat on the Subaru Supermo, but boy, the strength of Nolan. And he just gobbles up those RBI opportunities with runners in scoring position. He just has that sixth sense where he can take it to another level.
We always talk about clutch. What do you do in the game is tight. Nolan with the go-ahead home run, because it was 2-2 when he hit the 2-run home run. It's his 17th go-ahead RBI this year. That's first in Major League Baseball. Strike one on Trevor.
I think he'd want that one back again on the Subaru strike zone right there.
We had a fascinating conversation during the rain delay with Keith Hernandez. And
that was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And Keith, one of the finest hitters of his generation. And we were talking to him at one point about, you know, what he sees from today's hitters. This is to deep short. There's only one play, and that's third. And they get the force there on Charlie. It'll be 2 outs, and that'll bring up Ian Desmond. And he's not a big launch angle guy. He said he thinks that too many guys are getting caught up in that. There's Keith. And one of the other things he was talking about is too many guys let first pitch fastballs go by.
It was just fun because I had, you know, we're just talking about a lot of different stuff. I said, well, you know, where'd you learn to hit? He said his dad was his big teacher. He would throw to him, but the thing that his dad instilled in him was define the strike zone. So if they were taking batting practice and the ball happened to be just outside, Keith would ask his dad, you know, how far off was that? His dad would say that was 1 inch, that was 2 inches. And so he goes, that's how I learned the strike zone.
Gary Cohen, of course, his longtime partner. One strike on Desmond. 1-1.
Talking about Bob Gibson. Lou Brock. Remember, he played 8.5 years with the Cardinals before he went over to New York.
He said that St. Louis clubhouse was run by 2 guys. And he said, and it was run unbelievably well. Bob Gibson, he said, he's got a good cop, bad cop. He said the good cop was Lou Brock. He said you did not want to cross Bob Gibson. One and two.
I love the stories of Bob Gibson. Played for the Harlem Globetrotters, Creighton, is it
Blue Jays?
Blue Jays, played basketball and baseball.
Keith just came out with a wonderful book. It's only been out a few weeks, starting to his 4th printing. It's I'm Keith Hernandez. And there may be a follow-up to that because it just got him through about 1980. Lived a fascinating life.
Well, that I'm Keith Hernandez is in reference to a Seinfeld episode that he was on.
Yep. This is on the ground to second, and Cabrera will throw out Desi to end the inning, but the Rockies get another run. Herman got a base hit. He scores on the knock from Nolan Arenado. 10-4 Colorado.
there's one thing people are saying on Twitter, it's, hey, let's get Jeff Francis during the game every day. He has been lucky for us. So yeah, he was lucky for the Rocks tonight. They are up with 10 runs, but certainly in his career, it was not just luck, it was talent as well. His best seasons with the Rocks were from 05 to 07, and look at the company he kept among left-handed pitchers, most wins in Major League Baseball. So Johan Santana, Andy Pettit, CC Sabathia, and Jeff Francis. So yeah, he was lucky for the Rocks tonight, but let's not forget, you guys, very, very talented left-handed pitcher, had some great years from 05 to 07. True?
Yeah, he's a Rocky all-timer. And during that period of time, glad you threw that graphic up, he was one of the elite left-handers in the game. Physics major from the University of British Columbia. One out as Frazier flies to left. Dominic Smith is up now.
I always reference that Phillies playoff game because as a group, we knew Jeff Francis was a first overall pick for the Rockies back in 2002. But when you have a pitcher like Francis and he rises to that level where now we're talking about a guy that matches up against anybody's #1, and there's a different level of confidence when you know you have that guy. And for the Rockies in 2006 and 07, once Francis started becoming this elite level pitcher, it really did change the dynamic for us, because we'd look at a series and we'd say, all right, we got Francis against this guy, we're going to win that game. And now we have a chance to win a series almost every single time that Francis toes the rubber. It's that game I was talking about. Remember Chase Utley striking out in that first inning with the shadows. You get Ryan Howard going down, and the confidence that went right after. Offense immediately responded to Jeff Francis. Just tell whenever you have a guy at the front of that rotation that you can count on, and you feel like you're going to get a win, and you've probably played behind guys just the same. It's a completely different team dynamic when you walk to the field that day.
It's so much fun.
Good play by Story to throw out Flores. A 1-2-3-6 inning. We'll pick up on that question when we come back. The Rockies 10-4, good buddy.
The Rockies had their annual youth baseball camp today. Corey Sullivan was out there, Josh Fogg, all the coaching staff, myself. We had a blast out here. The kids running the bases, taking ground balls, hitting, pitching, you name it. Kids are getting some instruction, talking about backhands. Watch this play though, Drew. All right, look, jump throw.
How about that?
Perfect, right on the money.
Good stuff. Nice turnout too, huh?
Yeah, great turnout. I think there was somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 kids.
Terrific.
Might even be a little bit higher, maybe close to 170, 175.
Outside 1-1. Chris Beck's second inning of work. Cargo launched a home run to left in the fourth inning. He's 1 for 3 tonight. 7th home run for Carlos. And there's another base hit for the Rockies. That is hit number 15.
I want to point something out about Carlos Gonzalez's swing. We've been talking about this over the last couple of weeks. Notice his leg kick. Notice how the knee is going up and basically straight down. Earlier in the season, he was completely coiled around, so his body would almost twist. So his back, you would see his number from the center field camera. He's not like that anymore. And what makes that so important is that you know he's square, he's parallel. And that allows his hands to travel, allows his hands to now attack the inside part of the strike zone. It allows him to have power opposite field, which you saw tonight. All with a simple mechanical adjustment of not turning his body too much, not being too rotational. Get Huey to pull out the telestrator and show you what I'm talking about.
So first, just kind of watch the knee here as it goes up, but then it comes right back down, gets right back into the ground again. So he hits against that firm front side and then is able to come off that back leg, but it all helps because the rotation is not what it was early this year with the upper half.
You go back to some of the early video of Cargo when he broke in with the Oakland A's and then broke out with the Rockies in the second half of 2009. There wasn't even a leg lift then.
No, he was spread out. It was a wider base to start with, and he kind of just picked the foot up and put it back down.
I always try to tell parents that are looking at major league swings and they ask me, you know, what is your favorite swing? Is it better to have a toe tap or just leave your foot there? Is it better to have a leg kick? I said, well, you want your player to be as athletic as possible, and you want them to be on time, whatever that allows them to do. In my opinion, watching major league hitters, the ones that are the best have a little bit of a leg kick. It's a simpler mechanic because it matches a pitcher. It's basically like the pitcher shows his backside to me, I show mine to him, and that's how you get your timing. And it also allows the bat and your swing to be from the ground up because you're using your lower half. But for everybody, it all comes down to timing. If you're on time, I don't care what you do to get there.
It's what the hitters always say when they're not going well. My timing's all messed up.
3-2. It's fouled off out of play. Iannetta, single, hit by pitch and a walk. Cargo takes off, and this one's fouled off. Herman's in the mid-90s, visiting with Tony Walters, getting counseling from Tony Walters.
And 95 pitches for Herman. He only threw 8 pitches that last inning.
Cargo running again, and again it's fouled off.
Getting his sprint work in.
Cargo's 6'1", he plays about 220. He is in tremendous shape. Do you find, Huey, you obviously are long, lean type of build. Was it hard for you to keep weight on during the season?
Extremely hard. Especially when I was playing down in Texas.
Impossible down there, right? How about you, Spill? You played just under 200 pounds. Was it hard to maintain your weight?
Well, you got to realize my family. My mom was 120 pounds and my dad was the same weight. You know, so I come from genetics where I didn't have. It was hard for me to keep weight on, so I had to constantly eat.
Cargo runs again. This will safe and out at first. So it's. They're calling them both out.
Because Cargo
he
didn't slide. He went across the base and he made contact with Asdrubal Cabrera. So that one's on Cargo where you got to go into second, though. You got to slide.
I don't know if it was that so much, Huey, as he wasn't able to stay on the base. That's what it looked like from my vantage point. The second base umpire, Adam Hamari, was pointing and saying you didn't stay on the bag. I think you're allowed to do this as long as you stay on the bag. And there he comes off of it.
No, I think that's.
No, he interfered with his ability to throw the baseball.
Because he never tagged him. He did come off the bag a little bit, but he never tagged him. But because he couldn't get that throw off, I mean, he did get the throw off, but the rule is you can't interfere with the guy.
It's not reviewable. Buddy is going out asking for an explanation.
But it goes back to if Cargo slides, you don't have this problem.
It's a tough one in that Cargo realizes there's a pretty good chance Rosario's still going to go through the machinations of trying to get a double play, knowing that with Ionetta running, he still has a good chance of Cabrera throwing him out at first. And if you slide, you feel like, well, you know, if I slide, I may not get there in time. Either way, it's a double play. Well, Cuevas 1 for 3, doubled in a run in the third. Well, the Cubs beat the Dodgers today. That's good news, 2-1. Giants at home leading Miami 5-3.
That was the second game, that Cubs-Dodger game.
Dodgers won the first game of that twin bill, so it's a push.
Ejections in that first game for the Dodgers.
This ball is lined to that left field corner again, and it's going to roll to the wall. It'll be another double for Noel. His second of the ball game.
Likes that left field line. Had the double off the padding in the third inning, and now more conventional double here in the sixth. Slider backs up. Well, makes him pay for that one. Easy trot into second base.
And it'll be Ryan McMahon pinch hitting for Marquez. Late and foul. So here's the rule on that double play that was awarded to the Mets by the second base umpire Adam Hamari. If in the judgment of the umpire a batter runner willfully and deliberately interferes with a batted ball or fielder in the act of fielding a batted ball with the obvious intent to break up a double play, the ball is dead. The umpire shall call the batter runner out for interference and shall call out the runner who advanced closest to the plate, regardless of where the double play might have been possible. One and one on McMahon. 10-4 Colorado.
What do you think Hal McRae would have thought of that rule?
Not very much. Folks, if you have a few moments, YouTube Hal McRae breaking up double plays. Throw Willie Randolph's name in there, and you will not believe what you're going to see. Because a hit that violent isn't allowed in the NFL anymore.
Now that would be targeting.
Strike three on McMahon. That'll end the inning. The Rockies had a couple hits, do not score in the sixth. Off to the seventh we go. The Rockies up 10-4. Look back, and if you were in the seats in left field, there's a decent chance you got a souvenir tonight. Nolan, a two-run home run. Right behind that, Trevor Story. He hits one into the seats in left. Desmond messed everything up for those folks in left who wanted more baseball because he hit one out to right. But Carlos said, no, I got your back. I'll hit another one into the left field seats. So the Rockies went back to back to back. Cargos came an inning later. 10-4 Colorado. That's our Cooney Lexus look back. Brian Shaw in the seventh inning will face Tim Plawecki, a pinch hitter, and then Ahmed Rosario. And for Brian, he needs an efficient outing. And that's a pretty good start. Talking to Mickey Callaway about Brian today because he had him. He was his pitching coach in Cleveland. We were discussing, you know, did he see Brian, you know, struggle? And every pitcher struggles. And he said, you know, from time to time, he said, obviously not like what he's going through right now. But he was looking at the tape and said the same thing that you've heard from Buddy Black, Steve Foster. You don't say, well, you know what, it looks like there's been a significant drop in velocity or stuff. The stuff is there.
Yeah,
the velocity is there. The movement is there.
The location is not. That's what's hurt him.
He also added, because he asked, he said, you know, who are getting the hits, right-handed hitters or left-handed hitters? And I said, you know, actually there's been a lot of right-handed hitters. And he said when he got in a funk in Cleveland, it was the same way. That it seemed like righties did more damage because that cutter ran to the barrel.
Yeah, it's a barrel seeker. Yeah, so just stay on that same plane.
That's a little bit high. Just missed. 3-2.
But last year, I mean, for the last 4 or 5 years in the American League, he's been one of the best relievers. So there's nothing to say with the velocity, everything that says he can't regain that form.
In the air, right center field, long run, and Charlie can't get there. And this is going to be a double. Lowecky with his second hit tonight.
Well, we were talking about the location, and when the pitch is up, you can keep that barrel on a little bit longer, just out of the reach of Charlie Blackmon by about 6 inches.
Pitcher spot. So Jose Batista has grabbed a bat. He's pinch hitting. Started in right field yesterday. He takes strike 1. And a ground ball through the right side. That'll bring home a run. And it's 10-5.
Second hit in the career for Batista against Brian Shaw. He's 2 for 8.
Here's Rosario. And he went. Earlier, we were talking about the makeup of this Rockies team, and that it's coming off a playoff season and high expectations, and they should have high expectations. There's a ton of baseball left, you know, this year, despite how tough the last couple of weeks have been. And what you rely on, you know, fans understandably are troubled by what they're witnessing. The players are troubled by what they've witnessed the last couple of weeks. But you fall back on a reservoir of success if you're a veteran player who's had a lot of success.
And Brian has.
And Shaw has. Wade Davis has. Jake McGee has. And not just regular season success, but postseason success. Now, I think it's a different deal if you were talking about a young player that had been good for, you know, a couple of months and then all of a sudden hit a slippery slope, because they don't have a large reservoir at this level to look back upon.
No, because sometimes it might be just the first time they've ever failed too. It's probably rolled through the minor leagues, or if they did have some failure in the minor leagues, it was a short amount of time. It was, you know, maybe 2 games in a row. You know, it wasn't a week. It wasn't 2 weeks.
And the other aspect that a veteran player has, along with the reservoir of success, is they also have an understanding of how long the season is. They know there's 90 games left, and they get it. You understand the ebbs and flows of a season as a unit, and not just yourself personally, but you understand that, look, every team goes through, you know, the doldrums of not being able to get the results you want. They get that, but understanding it's June. Plenty of time left to turn it around. And
literally, in Spilly mentioned 90 games. If you include tonight, there are exactly 90 games left for the Rockies. Tonight is game 73. 2-2's fouled off. Comebacker, and Shaw throws this into center field. Brian commits his second error. He had a situation a few days back where he made a throwing error.
And that time it was on a comebacker as well. Then he tried to throw it to first base, threw it down the right field line. This time he tries to get the lead runner at second and drops the arm. Then throws wildly at Trevor. As it slides by Batista. Trevor trying to get out of the way. Chris Russin up in the Rockies pen now.
As Drupal Cabrera, couple hits tonight, 2 for 3. Cuts inside, 2-0. Fielder's choice, E1 is how you score that. With Conforto due up next, Russin hustling to get ready. Ball 4. Now the bases are loaded. You don't want to give the Mets any life. They have a little bit right now after scoring a run, and with 1 out. They have Michael Conforto, their 3-hole hitter, coming up. And it's another disappointing outing for Brian Shaw.
The bases loaded. Hey, the first 15,000 through the gates for the Rockies-Marlins game on Sunday will receive a 25th anniversary season Blake Street Bombers t-shirt courtesy of Coca-Cola. New pitcher for the Rockies, Chris Russin. It's a third of an inning in the Texas series. On an inning and a third for scoreless. Chris will get Michael Conforto. Part of the problem this year, not only for Chris Russin, who, look at inherited runners, for him it's good with the stranded, but the Rockies as a whole, 43.1%. That's the 12th highest in the MLB since 1974.
That's got to change, and it's got to change dramatically. And the Penn realizes that, the whole staff realizes that. So Chris Russin, with the bases loaded and 1 out, will face Conforto. 1 for 2 and a sac fly. First pitch, top of the zone, strike 1.
This is looking for that one pitch, get a ground ball, get the double play, and stop this momentum of the Mets.
Good pitch there.
Great pitch. These are the type of situations Chris excelled in all of 2017. He was unflappable, didn't matter the situation. He was the man for the job.
And he got it. Boy, that's what we saw a ton of last year. Quick and efficient. And he gets Conforto. Now he's got to deal with Todd Frazier.
He didn't wait around either. Big snapping slider on the Subaru Supermo.
And it's still a quick pitch, but you have to pause, obviously, which he does.
Nothing wrong with that. Once you stop, you can come to the plate as fast as you want.
Well, home plate umpire Bill Welke ran out and made sure he asked Chris Russin, because we know how his setup is. The setup for him in the windup and from the stretch is the same. He says, "Are you still in the windup?" He says, "Yes, I'm still in the windup."
And that's why Bill threw the hands over the top of the head.
Yeah, Buddy's going to match up here. He's got Adam Ottavino loose, and he's now messing around. He's going to ask Otto, I think, tonight to get 4 outs.
Top of the 7th. Still looking for the perfect spot to hold your company picnic? Ask about the Rockies pregame picnic carries with a variety of options for any budget. Call 303 Rockies today and host a company picnic at Coors Field. Adam Ottavino on to lock down this 7th inning. 30 ball games, 3-0 record, 48 strikeouts. You see the low ERA. Go back in the previous 8 matchups between these two. Todd Frazier 1 hit, 3 strikeouts.
Ooh, is that a cross-up? It's going to cost him a run, as Chris clearly was thinking he was going to get a slider. And now it is 10-6. It'll go as a pass ball, but Chris, you just tell, was not expecting the express.
No, because he is late. It's just a two-seamer. Chris goes out. It goes off his glove. It hits the umpire, Bill Wilkie, too. He catches him on his left arm. He did call a strike on the pitch.
One ball, one strike. The scoreboard in the park, I don't think they realized that that first pitch was called a strike, and now they're correcting it, as it did read 2-0. A New Yorker versus the Jersey kid. Frazier 0 for 2 and a sac fly. 2 in scoring position. 2 outs. Here's the 2-1. And it's 3-1. Slider right there, 3-2.
That was the slower of the 3 sliders that he throws. 81 miles an hour.
This is going to be grabbed by Otto, and he'll throw to first. So he gets Frazier 2 runs in the inning for the Mets. It's 10-6 Colorado as we stretch.
Bottom of the 7th as we come back here to Coors Field. We want to begin by thanking Jeff Francis for joining us in game tonight, and thank you to everyone who sent in their memories of Jeff Francis. It's always fun remembering that 07 season and Jeff Francis's career with the Rockies in general. So he was number 15 on our list, and now we got to reveal number 14, and guess who he is? It's the guy leading off for the Rocks. He's been the second baseman with them since 2012, Mr. DJ LeMahieu. Check out these numbers with the Rockies. 301 average, 306 RBI, 444 runs. He was the 2016 NL batting champion. He's a two-time All-Star, and we get to watch him every single day. Cannot wait to celebrate DJ next week. Drew?
No, I agree. DJ was going to wear a microphone and talk to us for an inning when he comes to bat and when he's out in the field next week. No, that's not happening. DJ grounds to short against Tim Peterson, who was just called up late this afternoon. One out in the 7th inning. That'll bring up Charlie. Blackman's had a perfect evening. 2 for 2 and 2 walks, 2 runs scored. Leads the National League in runs scored. 4th appearance for Peterson. He's been back and forth a couple times this year.
He arrived so late, he didn't even make the notes today for the New York Mets.
Jay Bruce placed on the disabled list. And instead of replacing Bruce with a position player, the Mets were carrying 5 position players, which most National League teams are not doing anymore. And now they got the extra pitcher, which is advisable, especially if you're a visiting team playing a 4-game set in Colorado. 2 strikes.
I just think it's almost the norm now that you just go with the 4-man bench. Definitely in the American League, you don't need that 5th bench player.
Well, really, it's a 3-man bench.
Yeah. True.
Charlie didn't pick up the baseball from Peterson. He's gone on 3 pitches. That'll bring up Arenado.
The first 10,000 fans through the gates for the Rockies Mets game tomorrow will receive a coupon for a Nathan's Famous Dollar hot dog.
Nolan tonight, a double and a run scored, 2-run homer and an RBI single, a 3-hit night for Nolan. Remember, he began the day having not had a hit in his last 16 Coors Field plate appearances, and he's going to have a 4-hit no. It's caught. Spoke too quickly. Didn't think Nimmo would get there. He did. A 1-2-3 inning for Tim Peterson. We'll go to the 8th. The Rockies up 10-6. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Rockies leading 10-6. They've hit 4 home runs tonight. In the 3rd inning, they went back to back to back. Notice Nolan, Trevor Story, Ian Desmond. Fargo later on a home run. Dominic Smith in the 8th inning against Adam Ottavino. Otto got the final out of the 7th inning. He's had an all-star caliber first half. Missed 17 days with a slight oblique strain. And that's a strike. Very similar to the first pitch, 1-1.
Well, the last time that Adam threw more than 1 inning, and he's going to be asked to throw an inning and a third here, was back on May 27th when he threw 2 innings.
Well, right now he's the one guy that I think Buddy Black can call upon, and he feels pretty confident he knows what he's going to get.
Well, I think that's why he brought him in that last inning, to get that final out of Todd Frazier.
One, 2 on Smith. Marquez went 6 innings, gave up 4 runs, 6 hits, couple walks, struck out 3. He's on the plus side. And that's fouled off. For Brian Shaw, 2 runs in a 1/3 of an inning, couple hits, a walk, a strikeout. Chris Russin threw 3 pitches in striking out Michael Conforto. And now Adam Ottavino. There's Herman. Smith with a swing and a miss. Out number 1 in the 8th inning for Ottavino. Here's our Kubota pitching performance. We told you verbally how Herman did this evening. And there's his matchup with Jason Vargas. Vargas did not last long. 2 1/3. He gave up 7 runs on 9 hits.
Vargas hasn't made it past the 5th inning in any of his 9 starts. Until early on, he didn't have it. He also had 6 ground ball outs to go with those 4 strikeouts.
Wilmer Flores is behind 0-2. Rockies have 16 hits tonight. The Mets have 8. And he just overmatched Flores there. Blew him away with that fastball. 2 outs.
Well, this is what Adam can do. He can overpower you after he's made you look a little foolish with the sliders. Flores is a day late with that swing. He thought he was getting another slider.
Catcher Plawecki's up. Single and a double in 3 at-bats. And there's strike 1 on that slider. Otto's faced 111 hitters this year. He has struck out 50 of them. 45%. That's on the outside corner.
There's an aspect of watching Otto, Huey, from the side where I don't think the hitters are sitting slider. I don't think they're. He's so difficult to pick up with the fastball. I think they're just stuck.
They can't figure it out. It looks great, though, from here.
That is a rather dominant inning yet again from Adam Ottavino. He strikes out the side in the 8th. He gets all 4 hitters he faces. Tonight's Fun Cam brought to you by Lodge Casino, your first choice for fun. Rockies had a lot of fun on offense. They've hit 4 over the fence. That is always fun. Trevor Story will lead things off here in the 8th inning. Still Tim Peterson out there, and that's fouled back. Peterson, like Chris Russin, went to the University of Kentucky.
Wildcat.
Story in the 3rd inning hit his 16th home run of the year. He's tied for the most home runs in baseball among shortstops with Francisco Lindor. Another multi-hit night as well for Trev. Trevor this year has dropped his swing and miss percentage 6% from last year. Last year he swung and missed around 31% of the time. This year he's swinging and missing 25.8% of the time. So it's just under 6% the drop. That is significant. And that's a check swing or 3/4 swing foul ball.
Well, because of it, everything is connected. So his swing percentage and contact rate inside the zone has gone up, and outside contact, I mean, it works hand in hand. If you're recognizing pitches better, and he's cut down his swing.
All right, so the outside swing, outside the zone swing percentage, that's chase. He's not chasing as much.
And that's what we were saying last year, you know. And so Trevor came into this year right after the season last year. He got to work, and he said, I need to make sure that I cut that down, and he has. Since April 28th, he has the hardest hard hit rate, going over 50%, 51.1% of the time. He's hitting the ball hard. That ball's over 90 miles an hour?
95,
95, yeah.
So there's a couple of things I can attribute it to when I'm watching Trevor, and I think you'd agree too. Familiarity with the league. 3 years now for Trevor Story in the big leagues. That obviously helps. You have a good understanding of how the league is trying to pitch to you. You have the confidence now because you've done it for numerous amount of time that you feel good about yourself. And the last thing is that small mechanical change where he's just on time more often than not.
Two and two.
For you, Huey, when you saw pitchers, you know, second, third time through, how much better did you feel? You weren't chasing as much.
Exactly. And then when you're not chasing, then they feel they can't get you out, so then they start to make mistakes, and then it just snowballs in your direction.
That time Peterson wins the battle, his second strikeout. And that'll bring up Ian Desmond. He's had a good ball game as well, 2 for 4, including a home run, couple of ribbies.
2018 Camping World MLB All-Star Ballot is now open and exclusively online. So go to Rockies.com/vote to make sure your favorite Rockies are represented.
Huge night offensively for the Rockies. Everybody has a hit in the lineup, save DJ. DJ has walked in the game. This is at Nimmo, 2 outs. So Cargo will come up, a home run in the 4th and a sharp single in the 6th. Rockies with 16 hits tonight, matching their season high. They had 16 hits May the 11th against Milwaukee. Unfortunately, they lost that game. Ball and a strike on Carlos. 1-2. We were talking about DeGrom earlier, and you know it's going to be a difficult night. If you're going to beat a guy like DeGrom, it's going to have to be a 2-1, 3-2 kind of deal, typically. And Cargo's gone. I was going to say, though, when you face the rest of a rotation, it's like Willie Mays used to say, you know, I'll take my 1-for-4s against Koufax and Drysdale. The rest of the rotation better look out. Southwest Airlines, low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. We're in Lodo. The Rockies 3 outs away from shaking hands and ending an 8-game home losing streak. They're up 10-6 as we check in with Jenny and Corey.
All right, Drew, thanks so much. This feels a whole lot better right now where we stand, 10-6. Big inning from the Rocks, back-to-back-to-back jacks. Just all is right so far tonight.
Positive thoughts, keeping the mojo going. Small victories, we talked about that. I do like the middle of the order, 3 through 6, 11 hits, 8 RBI, 3 home runs. That's some damage. We talked about Jason Vargas and that fastball. They got it.
They looked like some angry hits,
yes,
too. I like some good angry hits. Guys, we'll see you right after the ball game for the Toyota post-game show.
That sounds like a terrific plan. Wade Davis back on the hill, and Wade wants to erase the memory of what occurred Sunday in Arlington. Pound the strike zone and work efficiently here in his 31st appearance. It is not a safe situation with the Rockies +4.
But at this point, you're not worried about those things. You're not worried about the saves. You're looking at this because you saw what Buddy did, bringing in Adam to get an extra out in that 7th inning. So he goes an inning and a third. Now Wade trying to finish this thing out.
And the first pitch down low to Reyes. Jose Reyes pinch hitting the pitcher spot again. Typically for Mickey Callaway, it's the 8th spot in the lineup, a little bit like Joe Madden does things. Med Rosario's on deck, and that's at the knees for a strike.
And that was the problem for Wade in Texas, is it was a third of an inning. He only gave up 2 hits, 4 walks in that game. He just couldn't find his release point for anything.
And most of his misses were up. Breaking balls down, 2-1.
There's 38 pitches to boot. Only threw 15 strikes on Sunday.
Two and two. Neither of you guys pitched at the big league level. It's got to be a maddening feeling to all of a sudden not be able to do something that you almost take for granted that you can do, and that's throw strikes.
Throw the baseball.
Breaking balls high, so it's full, 3-2. For Wade, this isn't just about obviously getting 3 outs. That's priority number 1, but it's about being efficient. Getting back to doing what you do, and that's not what he was looking to do there, obviously. So the inning begins with a walk, and that'll bring up Rosario.
Well, I always remember when I pitched in high school and some in college, you'd have the occasional pitching coach telling you to just let him hit it. And that's the complete opposite of what a major league pitcher's is going through their mind. I don't want to just let them hit it. And in this case for Wade, that's what you're trying to do, is trying to get it in the strike zone and just pound the zone.
With a 4-run lead, it's typically you wouldn't say this, but right now, should it just be the fastball until he feels comfortable commanding it? Well, it's going to be a mix, obviously, because that was a breaking ball, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make, Drew. Is in this situation, you're saying to yourself, I just want to let him hit it. I just want to command fastball, but that is not the mentality of a closer. I'm not letting them hit it.
Slowly hit to third, and Rosario can really run, and it gets past Desmond, and everybody's going to move up 90 feet, and nobody out.
This is swinging bunt down the line by Rosario. Go down as a base hit, and then an error on Nolan, allowing everybody to move up an extra base, trying to get his body turned, but just couldn't get it turned enough. Where he threw it, you really have to start it in the outfield side and let it come back towards first base.
Brandon Nimmo is 1 for 3 and a walk. Strike 1 on Nimmo. To move ahead 0-2. This is where he was a moment ago with Rosario, and then weak contact by Rosario. But unfortunately, those runners at second and third after the error. The Rockies have John Gray. He held his bullpen back, warming in the bullpen. They'll get an out here. A run will score. It's 10-7. And moving to third is Rosario as Reyes crosses home plate.
We've seen that a few times recently with the Rockies, where they'll have one of their starters stay back, not throw his bullpen, just in case.
Here's Cabrera, 2 for 3 and a walk. The Rockies' pen over the last 3 games, this does not include tonight, 8 innings pitched, 19 runs allowed. It's never seen anything quite like this. Seen tough periods before, but
yeah,
where virtually everyone is afflicted. And a ground ball to first. Davis will get over. Another run will score. Cabrera's out. 2 gone. As Rosario makes it 10-8. And that'll bring up Conforto.
Last night, the bullpen gave up 9 runs in 3 2/3.
Conforto, a single in the 3rd, a sac fly in the 5th. Base is now empty. Good pitch. The pitch away.
Finish it here.
Strike 3 on the outside corner. Davis freezes Conforto. The Mets get 2 in the 9th, but the Rockies end the 8-game losing streak at Coors Field. They have defeated the Mets tonight 10-8. Marquez with the victories 5-7. Vargas takes the loss. He is 2-6. And that strikeout was the 800th of Wade Davis's career. The Rockies used the long ball tonight. They hit 4 bombs. And again, they win it 10-8 as we go to center field. Jenny and Sully. Jenny?
Winning feels so much better.
It really does. That's a confidence builder right there. That's the building block. That's number 1. You got to keep it up.
The pregame show was brought to you by Confidence. I can't wait to see what the postgame show is brought to you by Excitement. It's all coming up after the Rockies win. 10-8 the final here from Coors Field. We'll be right back.